Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today we've got this Toro TimeMaster. Customer brought it in and said that the blades won't engage. I checked it out real quick and the synchronization belt is broken on it. I'm going to go over how to replace both of the blade belts on this and what you should do if one of your idler pulleys comes apart or explodes on you, along with a couple upgrades you can make to your mower if you have this same model. 2025, they have done a little bit of change with the idler pulley system. I'll show you that also. And don't forget to hit those like and subscribe buttons as we go along if you enjoy the content. First thing first, as we open it up, I have already taken the screws out. You will need a 3/8 socket to get down into these holes. It cannot be an impact socket or it doesn't fit well. You've got 4 of them, one here, this location, on the front and the left, and up front here also. The only one that is a different size is going to be the one at this location, and it is a little bit longer than the other 3. As we get in, we can clearly see the belt is broken. It's snapped in half, and the reason for that is pretty evident also. As we're looking, we can see that one of the idler pulleys is completely missing. The bearing's flown apart. If we look a little bit closer, it is actually way up under on this side. It's in between the idler arm and the outside wall on the mower. So it's flown apart and found its way lodged back there. I'm not sure if the main blue belt here is actually ruined or not, but it looks like it's a good possibility with what happened. And that's normally what happens. One of these idler pulleys will explode if you hit something or just as they wear out. And then your blades will come around and they'll actually hit each other too. These are not hitting currently, but they are timed, so if they hit along at the wrong location, they will hit. When those hit, a lot of times it will actually ruin the blades. Blades are in very bad shape. You can tell they've been hit pretty badly as these were coming around. Yeah. Extremely damaged. Well, we see what the issue is. There's a couple different ways to address the idler pulleys that are one of the main causes on this. You can go to the upgraded commercial version that they use on the TurfMaster and on the Exmark models that are way heavier duty. They're upgraded pretty well. Otherwise, 2025 version of the TimeMaster actually has an upgraded different style idler pulley also. It's quite a bit better made. I don't really have any real-world use and know exactly how it functions quite yet because they just came out with this different idler pulley assembly, but it does look much better than that original. So you can use the original on there, you can use the 2025 upgrade, or you can use the commercial upgrade, and I'll show you the difference of those. Here we've got a Toro TurfMaster HDX. If we take the cover off, same cover and design and everything. One of the biggest complaints I have about this one, and most users do, is that it's so heavy. That's why a lot of the commercial guys won't use this. They'll actually still use that residential version, the TimeMaster that we were looking at. Because this is just so heavy, the whole machine's heavy, and it's very hard on your back and your body. If you look at the system here for the idler pulleys, it's a completely different idler pulley. Same setup across the board. Everything is the same except for those upgraded pulleys. You've got a few different options for your idler pulleys. This is the original one that goes on there. It's multiple piece construction. It's just kind of bolted together, 2 thin pieces of metal bolted together with 4 studs. It's got a spacer and then a cap that's supposed to keep some of the moisture out. They don't do very well since this is plastic all around, but the bearing is a 6203 bearing. They're decent size and decent quality bearings, but they don't seem to last long. There's a ball that came out when I tipped that one up of the bearing that has exploded. The other option is that commercial upgrade. This kit is pretty pricey to order one and replace it with the commercial version, but it comes with everything you need. It comes with all of that commercial stuff. It's going to come with your 2 idler pulleys and your whole idler arm assemblies, and all the hardware you would need to get this replaced. Comes with new bolts everywhere, new nuts, washer, and then a good instruction kit along with caps to keep that water out also, just like the other one did. Very good quality, very heavy duty. One of the newer things that they've started doing is on the new TimeMasters, they've started putting this different pulley. It's a different design, but it's a one-piece construction as opposed to the two-piece construction. I believe they just started doing that in 2025, from my understanding. This has got the bushing already installed, whereas this one kind of slips in and out easily. But it's kind of the same construction. There's not much difference in the way this one performs versus this one. Still kind of a cheaper alternative, but this, being as pricey as it is, I don't really like that option because of how much it costs. The other alternative is to buy, essentially, this is from the ROP shop. We use them for some different things. This is essentially the same kit, but in an aftermarket version. When you look at the quality of this versus the OEM, it is virtually the same. Can't feel any weight difference or anything. They look to be, this one looks to be just a little different color metal, but honestly, I feel like this one's just a hair heavier maybe even. But it comes with all of the same stuff, minus the instructions, which who uses those anyway, right? It actually comes with the bottom blade adapters in case these have sheared off when your blades hit. Same kind of hardware, same caps. All that stuff's good. The only thing I don't like is these bolts are not. See how that has a different, like a bushing to it? Those aren't going to work right. You'll want to reuse your originals or get some new bolts if you're going to use this as a whole kit. Everything else in this, though, is exactly what you need. It's perfect. The question then becomes, which route should you go? Should you go with an aftermarket like this kit? Should you go with an OEM upgrade? Should you go with an OEM original or the OEM? I guess you'd call this an upgrade still, right? Which direction should you go? In my opinion, for the price, the best thing out there is going to be the aftermarket upgrade. These are good quality, and they're about a third of the price of what you're going to pay for the OEM kit. That's what we recommend to many people. Some commercial guys will say, hey, let's do the aftermarket. Some will say, hey, let's do the originals. To me, it doesn't matter. I haven't seen any issues with either one being installed. And the good part is, if anything ever goes out on these, if the bearings ever go out, whether you're at the aftermarket or the OEM, all you have to do is take the clip out on the inside and just replace the bearing. You don't have to replace anything else when that goes bad. You don't have to spend, if you go with the OEM, you don't have to spend another, whatever, $150, $175 for it. You just buy a single bearing. So you can keep some of those on hand just in case it happens. They're only a few bucks a piece. First, let's get our belts freed up. Bolts holding the keeper on. Normally, I actually just let that hang there, but I will remove it all the way this time. I don't think my ratchet has enough room to be able to let me bring it all the way up. Now the blue belt, which is your main belt, will come up and off. The only problem is here is that our idler pulley is not coming back like it should because that pulley is actually in the way back in the back. I've never seen one actually fall exactly like that, so that's kind of difficult. Let's see if I can get the belt off. Rotate it around first. Nope, not wanting to work quite like that. Had to get in there somehow. All right, back into the location where it should be on the back side of that belt, where it started off. And this is kind of stuck too. My belt's stuck in between the pulley and the outside edge over here. I engaged the blade up top to take the brake off. Try this one more time. Just pulling and there we go. Out of there. If you have issues with the spindles, you can check them right now. It has almost a little wobble to it. It's not bad. I would say those bearings aren't the best. Yeah, just got it. That's what happens if you time them wrong. Good thing my blades were already shot anyway. Got a little bit of bearing noise. I might reach out to him real quick and see if he wants to do any bearing work to them. It's not a bad idea while we have it all open up. Luckily, he starts early. I don't know, it might even be a little too early for him. It's only about 5:30 now. Give him a buzz, see if he picks up. You've also got your idler pulley for the main belt. If you spin that and it makes a bunch of noise, that's also one you're going to want to replace. I'll show you how to replace this belt after we get to everything up front here done, along with the idlers. I do have the blades engaged up top just to kind of get that brake out of our way. Hold that belt off to the side, move our idler pulley out of the way. We're going to take this all apart. Basically what you need is a 1/2 inch socket and a wrench. If yours is all rusted up, you'll want to put some sort of lube on the back side of that bolt before you start taking all that off. We're just going to pull our bolt through. And we've got new of all this since he opted for the OEM kit. Even the aftermarket kit's going to have the same. Now there's 2 bolts that hold this bracket down. Those are also 1/2 inch head to them, one at the back and one at the front. Can't quite get it in there with that brake on. I'm going to disengage that brake. That should be coming all the way back. Oh, I got my light in the middle there. That makes sense. Light at the back. Then our whole bracket comes up and off. The new bracket's already installed on the OEM one. If you have the aftermarket one, you will have to install it on here and then bolt this down and then put the cap on top of it. Again, the OEM one comes pre-installed, so all you have to do is set it in there. We'll clean all this up real quick. Everything blown out. One of the main causes of all this failure is people not cleaning up under here. It just gets extremely built up over time, especially when you're using it all day, every day, like a lot of these guys do. This guy's a commercial guy, but again, he likes this one as opposed to the other one because the other one's so stinking heavy. He's got, I think, 2 or 3 of these and 1 of the other ones. When he bought the one, he was kind of mad he didn't just get another one of these because of that weight. If we are to read the instructions, it actually tells you to do this yourself, so I'm not sure if they all come pre-assembled or if sometimes they don't. It was all sealed up. Looks just a little bit different than the other design, but same practical use anyway. One of the most important things when working on this deck at all is to use anti-seize on everything. I can't stress that enough. Yes, I've got kind of a mess going there. I'll wipe it up, but as long as that hole has anti-seize in it, I'm happy. I'm going to actually use it on the end of the bolt too. These decks they're either aluminum or magnesium. They just tend to grab a hold of the bolt and seize up real easily. And once those bust off, it's a pain to get that drilled out because you've got to remove the engine to do that. This one comes with new bolts again. If yours doesn't, you can clean up and reuse the other ones. I wouldn't recommend it though, just because of the propensity for them to seize everything up. And there's the front one. If you use the bolts that came with the aftermarket kit, you're going to tighten down this pulley, and it's meant to be adjustable. It's not meant to be tightened down. So that's not going to work out well. Again, a lot of anti-seize is going to be your friend. I'm just trying to get them both started. Not really worried about where it sits right this second. You got to get it in the middle of that. Don't want to over tighten, but you do want it tightened up. Oop, I think I got the ledge just barely. Don't want to do that. You want it to be in between. All right. Now it should slide back and forth freely. Should not be getting caught on anything. If it's not sliding back and forth freely, you will not be able to tension it properly. And it won't stay that way. It actually is supposed to be able to flex a little bit. I'll show you how that gets adjusted here shortly. But if it can't flex, you're going to run into issues. Engage this. Engage just the lever up top. Get that out of the way again. So we'll get the next pulley. Luckily that came right up and out. We'll discard that bushing and everything. So we got a bolt with a washer on it. Going to install this up with the bolt down through it. But we're going to do that after we get this new belt installed, because that is the easiest way. To get our new belt on, there's not quite enough room over in between the keeper and here. So I like to take off the top pulley. You can get it over there actually without taking it off, but I find it's possible to damage the belt when you do that. So I'm just grabbing the blade down below. I'm removing this nut up top for this pulley. If you don't have to replace your blade to replace the idlers, you don't have to do this. Now we'll be able to see the hole in this side, and that's where you want to go down to lock it in to where your blades are timed. There's one on each side, one there and one over here. If you put your blades there in those locations, basically one's going to be straight here and the other one's going to be this way, because if they're directly towards each other, they will hit. We only use OEM belts. Part number there. I'll put those in the description and down below. Oop. Get that in there. Just want that lined up exactly as it should be in each location. So straight and straight on either side. Then we can take that other pulley, a bolt and washer, throw some anti-seize on it too. Put the bushing down here, kind of hold it in place, and we can install this. I'm going to put the bushing in here first, make it a little easier to kind of hold on. Kind of hard with the camera in the way. Oh, we're not quite in the teeth. There we go. We were kind of sitting up on the teeth is why I didn't want to go. Usually it's a hair easier than this. Came off the side over here. It wasn't in one of those teeth either. So that's where we weren't getting enough room to get it down on there. Now we are. You don't want to try to force this at an angle or anything. Again, if you strip that out, you're going to be in big trouble. Tighten it up, and then we'll throw that cap over the top just to keep water and everything out, debris out of that bearing. If you're looking down below, one blade should be one way and the other one should be the opposite. That means when they come around, they're not going to hit. If they're not like that, you want to redo that belt timing. Move just a few notches either way. So they're exactly 180 off. You don't actually have to use those keeper locations, but they do need to be opposite one another. As long as they are where they're supposed to be, we can take our keepers out. We can reinstall the top. This location doesn't actually usually get stuck at all, but never can be too careful. I've still actually got that screwdriver on the other side, so it's not going to spin much on me. And I'm holding my blade down below too while I tighten this. Get them nice and snug. Normally, if you aren't replacing this belt, we could go ahead and put this keeper back on. Again, we'll want anti-seize in those bolts. I'm not going to do that yet because I'm going to show you how to replace this belt. Now, to properly tension this, we're going to put this bolt and nut here. I'm not going to worry about anti-seizing it. The reason being is that it's all exposed. You don't want anything getting on it anyway. As debris gets in there, we'll have the, this is basically like a spring. And then we're going to install the bolt and a washer. They do have pretty decent instructions with this. If you guys would like to read those, this is the only part that I actually feel needs instruction, and it tells you exactly what to space this at. It does have a nylon lock on the back of that nut, and this is the one that needs torqued well. The instructions say anywhere from 5 to 40 thousandths. So that means between this bracket and the outside edge of this spring, or the inside edge of this spring, I mean, we want 30 thousandths of space. You can use a feeler gauge to do that. I like it kind of on the outside edge of that. I like it right about 30 thousandths. So right where I have it is technically good. We want that feeler gauge to fit in there and be tight on each. Shouldn't just be sloppy at all, and it's not. But to me, that doesn't seem like it gives it quite enough play. So when you're squeezing this back and forth, you can see that that has some flex to it. I like a little more spring than that. So I'm gonna back that off just a hair. I think 5 thousandths is way too close. I would never leave it that close whatsoever. My feeler gauges only go to 20, but right there, I think we're somewhere in that general vicinity and everything looks good. We got plenty of bounce. You don't want this too tight. If it's too tight, it causes extra wear. Everything should move nice and free now without any real noise. And down below, you shouldn't be getting any hitting at all. If the blades are hitting, you obviously aren't timed right. First, we've got to get the drive belt out of the way. What I like to do is I like to just grab the whole transmission assembly and pull it back towards me while I get the belt off the back. And then it'll kind of snap. So I'm just driving it off the back, and then the whole transmission just goes forward, snaps back. So the belt's free, and you can actually pull it all the way down once you get it off the pulley at the top. Show you another view of that here in just a second. You can also use the pry bar to remove or install the belt. If you do that, you want to bend this bracket out of the way. And you're just going to get on the corner, pull it all the way back, and the belt will come off really easily at the back then. From down in here, that bottom pulley you see, that's where that belt rides. And it's just kind of hanging there. You take it right off of there. I disengaged the PTO, or the blade, to give us a better view. But to get it off this top pulley, all you've got to do is pull it through, and it goes straight down and off. I'll grab it through the other side now. Got my other belt out of the way again. It comes right around and off of there. Straight through, and it's off. Now he does not want to replace this belt, so I'm actually going to just put this back on. Obviously, if you're doing a new belt, you put your new belt up back on the same way. So you go around the bottom of the pulley. Kind of hard to do it blind. I don't want to be up front really with much. kind of in the way. Going under the bottom now. And then once I get it through the top, I just pull it straight through. Around the pulley, I can't really see. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm still at the bottom up there. Really hard to get a good view of this without my hands being in the way. See if I can do this a little bit different under the bottom. So I'm going to get around this front pulley. And once we do that, it's just a matter of pushing it through to the front, through that loop. Wow, really hard to feel at the same time. Didn't realize it'd be so hard to do it blind. Let's whirl it around. Now we're in the right location. We can use our anti-seize again. We're just going to put that straight around this pulley. We're going to tighten it down. And also anti-seize the two bolts. Nice and snug. Now we'll put our drive belt back on. Same thing under here. And you can have this tipped up to do it. It's going to make it a lot easier on you to do it that way. But for here, just for showing you how, I like it to be here. I like to just do it by hand. When it's off, I'll bend this out of the way. And I'll actually just grab a hold and rotate the whole transmission around as I throw the belt on. To me, this isn't difficult, and it works very well and easily. For some people, if you don't have that strength, you can use a pry bar to pry it back to get it loose enough that you can get that belt on. That's easy once you have it kind of pried there to rotate the belt on, as long as you don't let go of it. Once your belt is on, you can bend that bracket back down. And again, if you don't have the strength to do that and you've got a spring puller, what you can do, I'll take the belt back off here real quick. Let it fall. You can take this spring off to begin with. Pull it out of the way. We can rotate this pulley all the way around to get it on both here and at the top. Once it's on, we can use our spring puller just to grab that spring from the back side. And we're just going to pull it right into that hole. And then we can bend our bracket back over to where it needs to be. Well, it's the moment of truth. Let's see how everything works. everything's back into working order. Hopefully this has helped you out. If you needed to replace either of those belts, or you were wondering with the idler pulleys whether you should go the OEM route, go the Exmark or Toro upgrade route, or go with an aftermarket. In my opinion, that aftermarket upgrade is the way to go. It's way better than the upgrade or the update to the idler pulley system, and just so much better than the original. I'm glad they made some changes, but really they should have went with the upgrade on all the versions of this unit. We didn't replace the blades because the customer said he had some at home he was going to throw on. I will include some blade replacement, just how to here real quick. It's not a difficult process, just in case you need that, right here at the end. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button if you enjoyed the content. Thank you for watching. Have a great rest of your day. I'm going to get these doors open, get a little airflow going in here. Thanks again. If you need to replace the blades, you're just going to take a 5/8, going to remove the nut, standard thread. As it comes off, we've got an adapter. It's got two kind of elongated pieces that go towards the spindle and two tabs that go towards the blade. You want to make sure that neither side of that's broken, that your blade's not all dinged up if you're just sharpening them to put them back on. This one, he's not actually replacing them. I'm just going to reinstall it. Make sure everything's lined up before you tighten it down. And you're all good to go on that side. Same thing on the other side, and really they should be 180 against each other, so completely opposite. Same thing, take our 5/8 out. Make sure that our tabs are in good shape on both sides, which they are. You also don't want any breaking on the opposite. Small tabs go back in when you put the new blade on. Again, he's got some blades of this, so I'm not going to replace them. Just wanted to show you how, if you needed to, that those go. Back on, and again, 180. If one sits this way, the other sits this way.